Hi besties, Happy New Year. I wanted to start the year strong talking about men's bullshit, the audacity, because new year, new hair, new me, but hopefully leaving all of this shit behind in 2021. It's funny because I've been out for like 2 years now, still getting some unhinged DMs, so I thought it would be fun to share that with you. This is in no particular order, nor am I going to name names because I don't want to give anybody a reason to hit my line. So starting off strong, one time in college this kid was walking me home from the library and he pulls up a picture of me from my own Instagram and he says, "Claire, you're lying to everyone." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "These," gesturing at my tatas in a bikini picture, "are obviously a C cup, and these," gesturing at my tatas in real life, "are obviously not." Sir, I don't know when Victoria told you her secrets, but who are you to tell me what size my boobs are? Moving on. Also one time in college, a kid DM'd me on Instagram to ask me for notes in a class we had together. I don't think I've ever spoken to him in real life. And he said he had a seizure in class and couldn't take notes. First of all, I didn't have any notes. Second of all, he did not have a seizure, which he fessed up to later on. Again in college, a boy that I think I had met one time at a party, and again, never spoken to, DM'd me, no, he texted me. I don't know how he had my number, but he texted me. And he told me how much he liked me, basically confessed his love for me. And this was at like 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Anyway, keep that in mind. So he confesses his love for me. He's like, "I think you're so attractive. I think you're so cool. I would really love the chance to be with you," etc. Meanwhile, he's been in a relationship for years with this girl, also someone that I do not know. He texts me the next day, obviously I don't respond, and he says, "Sorry, I was drugged at brunch, so ignore anything that I said yesterday." You know it's bad when you have to lie about being drugged at brunch.
Yikes.
In college one time, someone once told me that my Bitmoji was sexy, which I guess just tells you what kind of porn they're into. Not one, but two of my bosses / managers from the same job have slid into my DMs. Mind you, these are grown men. One with a whole wife and kids. The other one, no, but still at least 20 years older than me. Also, when I first started that job, I was freshly 18, and one of my coworkers asked me out for drinks, and I was like, first of all, ew. Second of all, ew. Third of all, you know that I'm not 21, right? And he was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And he gave me his number and on a napkin. He wrote his name and his number on a napkin, and obviously I didn't want it and was thoroughly disgusted by this. So I pinned it up on the communal coworker pin board and said, "If anybody wants to go get drinks with so-and-so, he's looking for a drinking buddy." He was not too happy about that. I also, from the same job, oh my god, maybe I should drop the name just so nobody ever works there again. From this same job, I got a chef fired because I was taking some pictures on New Year's Eve a few years ago, and I was like, "Oh, like I want to sit on a table or something," and he's walking by and he's like,
"I have something you can sit on."
Again, maybe 19 at this point, and this man had 50 years worth of wrinkles on his face. A kid from college told me I oozed sex appeal, which, thank you, but what? What does that even mean? I don't even know where to begin to unpack that one. The fact that I can make like 37 parts of this video, but these are the only things that are just coming to mind when I think of this topic, terrifying. It's also really funny when people slide into my DMs fully knowing that I'm gay. Like, I have a little rainbow flag. I post several times about lesbian visibility and pride, etc., etc. Men still slide into my DMs being like, hey girl, you got a boyfriend? Like, no. And then when I say no, they're like, oh, looks like there's a position that needs filling. I'm like, Kyle, I'm a lesbian. And they're like, girl, so am I. Like, Drake really is out here ruining lives of lesbians. Recently, it's become a trend where random men have added me on Snapchat, which I don't know how or why, because every single time it says that they've searched my name, like they've added me from search, so they went looking, and they'll slide in my DMs and I'll be like, who are you? And obviously block if I don't know them. And the other day, this guy was like, hey babes, it's George. You don't remember me? We've been trading nudes back and forth for years now. Need a reminder? I was like, sir, save us both the time and the trouble, because no one wants to see that. I've sold like a few things on eBay since living in Berlin, and I sold, I think it was a coffee machine, and some guy came to pick it up, and I was living at my au pair residence still, thank God, because then he would know where I lived. He came to pick it up, and then after leaving, messaged me on eBay to tell me that I had beautiful eyes. Also, I've had numerous taxi drivers give me their card if I ever needed a ride somewhere. One time I actually went to the wrong airport in Berlin for a flight, and the other airport, when there was still two of them, was across the city, and my flight was boarding like in an hour, so the only way that I would make it there in time is if I took a taxi. My fucking taxi driver gave me his card and then asked me if when I got back to Berlin, and I told him in the car that I had a girlfriend, which sometimes can be a dangerous thing to do because you never know people's opinions on that, and he was in charge of the vehicle. I told him that, he just, selective hearing, chose not to pay attention, and asked me if when I got back to Berlin if we could go to the zoo together. That was fun. I had a doctor here in Berlin who I went to get an allergy test, and it was one of those tests where they like poke a bunch of needles and then like brush your skin with different types of common allergens, and I literally passed out during the test. So that was fun. I had told him that I was looking for a job, so he decided to text me after my appointment. Confidentiality who? He texted me on my personal cell phone on WhatsApp and said, oh, I'll let you know if I hear of any job openings, and I was like, still weirded out, but I was like, okay, cool, thanks. And then he messages me again, and he was like, or at least for a good party. How about no? And then a few months later, I changed my WhatsApp profile picture to me with a wig on, and he messaged me, he texted me again, and he was like, oh, nice profile picture. Sir, keep it in your practice. Then another guy in Germany, he was actually the kindergarten teacher for the kids that I was an au pair for, and every day when I would drop them off or pick them up, he would always be there, and every single time he told me that I smelled really good or looked really nice. Very strange. Fan behavior, if we're being honest. He also had a wife and a newborn baby. Always fun. Again, when I was an au pair, I was at the birthday party for my host mom, and at the time I was with my ex, and we were up in my room getting ready because we were about to go out for the evening, and one of my host parents' friends came upstairs and came into my room, and I've never met this man before, ever. He stood in my doorway and he was like, what are you girls up to? Very much creepy uncle vibes. When I got my second vaccination, I was checking in at the front with my ID and my previous vaccination card, and my health insurance info, everything. And which you can see, like how old I am, where I'm from, which I usually actually lie and tell people I'm from Canada to avoid that conversation, and where I lived and everything. Like all of my information is straight up there, but there's no avoiding that. They needed it for me to check in, and the man who was checking me in had a cross, an upside down cross, tattooed on his face, along with multiple other tattoos. And he checked my information and he was like, do you have a boyfriend? I was like, no. He wrote his number for me on a piece of paper, and I was like, thanks. And then I went and got my vaccination, and you could stay and wait for them to print out the QR code for the COVID app, and there was 0% chance in hell that I was gonna be waiting, even if it was 5 minutes. And on my way out, I tried to discreetly throw his number away, and then I booked it. I ran. That was a fun day. When I was in Berlin a few years ago, when I studied abroad here, I was followed home on Valentine's Day by some man. I don't even know if he lived in my building or not. He followed me home and then stood outside the door of my apartment and kept asking me to give him my number. Terrifying. Ew. Also fan behavior. And I know that this is just supposed to be a funny video, but I hope that anybody watching this realizes the shit that women have to go through on a day-to-day basis. It is fun to look back and laugh on it. Like, who thinks a Bitmoji is sexy, if we're being honest? But yeah, just like, don't be that fucking guy. You'll end up in a YouTube video being made fun of. So avoid that for yourself. Happy New Year! And I hope that I'm manifesting for everybody watching this that no gross men bother you in 2022.